Welcome.
Divine Creator, we ask that the light of highest awareness fill the minds and hearts of those who are open to your light. We ask that they be assisted and strengthened in their resolve to achieve peace using peaceful means. May their minds, their hearts, and their actions reflect the divine will to good for all. Comfort, strengthen, and support those who are in a difficult situation in their mind, body, or spirit. Bring confidence to them that your divine hand is at work in their life. Amen.
Well, welcome to Ccwh. My name is Reverend Mary Huber. I'm the pastor of the Community Chapel of Holistic Healing, and we are a non-denominational spiritual fellowship founded in 1977 by our founder, Reverend Michelle Luson, a mystic and channel for the multidimensional consciousness which we carry here in this organization. She had a vision given to her by Swami Sivananda in spirit, who asked her to start the organization and place it here in the Washington, D.C. area where we are based. We are here to aid in personal and global spiritual transformation. Right now, we have healing only through distance healing, but you can send a request in through our website to add people to our healers list for those for whom we are praying. We have services twice a month, and that schedule is on our website at ccwh.com. So at this time, we will begin, as we do every chapel service and most every meeting that we have, with our Faith, Hope, and Charity Affirmations, also known to us as three healers, channeled very early on our organization through Michelle Luson. You might want to say these with me, as these are centering and balancing for all systems in your body. The Faith Affirmation: I believe in the spiritual existence of myself as a perfect image of the divine creator. In this reflection that is my physical embodiment, I have faith in the supreme guidance of my soul for my balance, my needs, and my opportunities. Outside of myself, there are also perfect images, and nothing can delude my thinking otherwise. Hope Affirmation: acknowledging my faith in the omnipresence of my divinity, I hope for realization, awareness, and acknowledgement of the existence of the great I am within myself. And Charity Affirmation: in understanding faith, in knowing hope, I pledge my actions, my desires, and my thoughts to the performances of myself on the physical planes of the earth, to honor, to love, and to enlighten all that is a reflection of the divine outside myself, so that my perfection is imaged back to my Creator. So help me God. Well, thank you for coming this evening. And I will begin with this evening's topic, which is service with a smile. You know, we very often use the English language in various ways as we're going through our life, and very, very seldom actually ever become wondering about what these different normal words mean. And one of the words that I've decided to look up since I decided on the topic was the word service. And that is an interesting word in so many different ways, because it can be used as a noun, a verb, or an adjective. Prior to looking it up, I was not aware of that scope of the word. So I'll just go through some of these. The first definition, of course, says it's the occupation or function of serving. The example here would be in active service to something, or the second part would also be employed in a situation where you are, say, a servant to a household. Second definition said it's the good work performed by one who serves. It's of help, of use, and benefit. A third definition is used as a religious ceremonial kind of term. It's you refer to things such as a religious service, a burial service, evening services. The next definition said it's the act of serving in such a helpful or useful labor that does not produce tangible commodities. It's also used in the plural, such as saying something about services performed. Then again, it can be seen as a sort of a mundane thing, as a set of articles in a particular grouping, such as a silver tea service. When you use it as a verb, it means to make fit or use, to repair and restore a condition. So it can be used. And it's used as an adjective very often in referring to buildings or rooms, and you refer to such things as the service door or the service elevator. Another adjective would be relating to the armed forces, and this would be characterized in the phrase service personnel. So the term is widely used and used in many contexts. Now, we know the term community service. That's very, very familiar to us. And this is something that benefits so many people. And even today, high schools and colleges are requiring some number of hours of service to be performed as a requirement for graduations. Now, most college admissions offices report that this has a positive impact on the student's acceptance to the college or university when it is required at the high school level. It can even be a tiebreaker, believe it or not, that determines someone's being accepted when there are many qualified students. This is important to colleges also because it has indications of the future student's performance. The points here that they make are, first, the students are likely to be active on campus outside of class, engaged in their activities that the campus has. Secondly, they are likely to contribute to the university's mission. And third, they share the school's values. Students today are also involved in something called service learning. This involves students to be in service projects to apply classroom learning in local agencies who exist to affect positive change in communities. Service learning is a combination of what we know as formal education and applying that learning in a service-oriented way. It is a type of educational philosophy that requires a student to demonstrate their knowledge, thus connecting their cognitive to the emotive within them and resulting in better learning outcomes. It incorporates personal passions with their intellect, thereby empowering students to actually find their passion and exercise useful ways to engage in real world problems. Now, we're going to come back to the importance of finding passion later. It is believed that students who volunteer more frequently tend to be higher achieving and more engaged in their communities and less prone to risky behaviors as adolescents. Moreover, service learning in particular has been found to improve students' engagement in school and reduce their risk of dropping out. Now, I know from my family's involvement in the Maryland school system that each student is required to complete 75 hours by graduation time. And I know my grandchildren started well in their middle school years to begin that process, so they could spread it out and get it accomplished. For many, many decades before this recent inclusion in education for the adolescents, the Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts have had to perform service of various kinds to achieve their various levels of progression within their groups. So it's wonderful to see that service has entered the world in this expanded fashion, because from the spiritual perspective, service has been part and parcel of every traditional religion down through time. I believe all of you know of the acts of charity. And the works include to feed the hungry, to give water to the thirsty, to clothe the naked, to shelter the homeless, to visit the sick, to visit the imprisoned, and to bury the dead. Those have been the traditional list as long as I remember, and I'm sure go back quite a long way. And Jesus once said that whatever we do to the least of our neighbors, we do to him. This idea of service embedded in the Bible. When Paul said in the Corinthians, the purpose of service is so God can reach others through our hands. Of course, metaphysically, the reference to hands really is about your action. So many phrases in the Bible are in fact symbolic representations rather than literally to be translated. We also know through the Bible that God calls us to share our blessings. To serve God is to serve others and is the greatest form of charity. The pure love of Christ. Jesus said, a new commandment I give unto you, that ye love one another as I have loved you, that ye also love one another. And that's from John chapter 13. And here we get to the very core of the matter of service. Spiritually, the very act of service has no tangible outcome. Spiritually, it is a gift given from the heart to another to benefit them. Unless the heart is involved, the service that is rendered cannot be seen in the same way. It's also not measured in the same way from those higher dimensions of self. It's recognized in the secular world that the best outcome comes from the student was really connecting with the area where they choose to serve. So how does one find that place within themselves? How can they make that connection? They answered that when they used the word passion. This really means something that we truly love and in which we find great enjoyment. It certainly is elevating to the human spirit to participate in some activity where the benefit to others can be seen in real terms. Those who volunteer to help the sick often see this kind of evidence. However, most of the time, the evidence is not seen, but more felt by the individual delivering the service. This is why the element of real compassion and love has to be involved. I found a wonderful statement by a prominent Jesuit priest of the past who was a great influence on many people. He thought, as I do, that serving God is the ultimate goal to reach. He said, nothing is more practical than finding God. That is, than falling in love in a quite absolute final way. He goes on to say, what you are in love with, what creates your imagination, excites it, will affect everything. It will decide what will get you out of bed in the morning, what you will do with your evenings, or how you will spend your weekends, or what you read, or who you know, even what breaks your heart. What amazes you with joy and gratitude. And he suggests that you are to fall in love, stay in love, and it will decide everything. This is also the way to discern God's will. Discover what is the deepest desire you hold. If you want to know what God wants and what we want to be the same thing, we pay closer attention to our feelings as they come up. They are tremendously great indicators when they are observed by us. By noticing these affective experiences, it can lead us to a new way of life. And after all, God's will isn't something external, it's internal. It's planted in our heart. To me, God is an experience. And our expression of gratitude to God is to serve others as He has served us, as He continues to serve us every moment of our life. I think God is the greatest servant of all. In finding the quote by the Jesuit priest, I also found, or rather rediscovered, some material on St. Ignatius, who is the founder of the Jesuits. He lived around the 15th century in Spain. And he came to serve God very much the same kind of pattern that the Buddha found, and the way the Buddha found God. Someone of a higher rank or means who became dissatisfied with the world and turned his life around, dedicating it to God. Ignatius found that a 4-part program was effective to help people to make the changes within themselves that they wanted to achieve. It was usually presented in a 4-week period. The first week, one went through a kind of a thorough internal examination, taking stock of their life, and with honest appraisal where one stood with God as well as with others and with self. The next 3 weeks were focused on deepening the relationship with Jesus and reflecting on the implications of Jesus' invitation to work with him in healing the world. Where were we with that? So Ignatius used the life of Jesus as the example to follow. He proposed exercises which included the daily examination of your life or review of the day to see where God was present in our life during that day. He used colloquies, which are honest, intimate, personal conversations, as one prayer method. He felt that going through the life of Jesus in the traditional view in the Bible, which is the surrender, the suffering, the death, and the rebirth, these elements he recognized as the archetypal human story. That's why he used Jesus, and Jesus came to be the way shower, and these were the lessons that you can learn from the life of Jesus. But this was also these same things were recognized by ancient Greeks and Romans as they told a story. But so did Shakespeare and Muhammad, as well as the Buddha and Tolstoy, use these same methods. Now, in Ignatius' way, his first week was to look at the human condition, in that everybody suffers, everybody fails, and everyone is powerless to change anything fundamental about it. The second week, change is possible if we surrender our illusions of mastery and turn ourselves over to God. In the third week, redemption beckons, but first comes struggle. We suffer, but God is with us. And the fourth week, out of the crucible of suffering comes love and redemption. Christians might call this the passion mystery, which Jesus' followers live out again and again in their lives. The Buddhist may call this pattern the struggle to achieve enlightenment. The Muslims understand it as repeated acts of surrender to God. And for Jews, it's the story of their people. It has been noted that versions of the same sequence are found in the myths of many cultures. Joseph Campbell was very familiar with this sequence and had his own terminologies for it. Today, the world is struggling onward and upward. I was reminded recently that the world is just halfway through the upward climb through the fourth dimension of consciousness. Many light souls on the planet already achieved the fifth dimensional plane. The travails that we see now are those people coming behind us in spiritual development who have yet that need to surrender to God. They have to achieve that yet. Through all of this, each of us are supported, and we in turn are asked to support others through our light. Our service today is to remain firm in the great light of awareness which we have achieved and not lower it, because those coming up are looking to us to see how to achieve it. We are the beacon for those souls. So although we may also engage in outer world service in the more traditional ways, our very greatest service now in this time frame is to stand firmly in the light and increase it in ourselves every day. We never really actually arrive at a final destination. We only arrive at a level of achievement, our next goal along the path. Whatever we choose, whatever you choose, however you choose to serve, let it be with a great smile and a sense of joy. Then whatever you do is composed of so much light and higher energy when delivered that way that it increases it exponentially. Your service is unbelievable. It is actually a true indication of spiritual achievement. We have gone through the process of absolute forgiveness, and now the fruits of the Spirit are ours to share. So smile. You are literally on the universal candid camera at all times. Don't forget that. Thank you so much. And now we'll go on to our meditation.
Welcome back, and thank you. Hello, everyone, and welcome. We'll begin our meditation by taking deep breaths. We'll take deep breaths in and deep breaths out. Deep breaths in and deep breaths out. Deep breaths in as we find ourselves relaxing very deeply, very fully, very completely. From this calm place, we become aware of ourselves, our body, minds, and spirits. We feel ourselves seated or perhaps standing on the ground underneath our feet. We become aware of this connection to the ground and the earth upon which we live. At this time, we may also become aware of some light that is present in our bodies. We may also, at that time, become aware of some dark, perhaps some dark bits flowing around our energy fields or within our bodies, within ourselves. And we imagine these floating strongly or rushing strongly out of us, down through our grounding cords, out through our bodies, exiting our fields, and entering Mother Earth for transformation. We allow this flow, this outflow of any heaviness, any darkness, to continue. Allowing our bodies to become clear. Allowing our minds to become clear. Allowing our spirits to feel clear. With this process complete, we give thanks to the earth for her aid in this grounding. And we become aware once more of the light that is within us, throughout us, and all around us at all times. We see this light coalesce and reach upwards to the sky, to the stars, to the light of the all that is. We feel that connection between the light in us and the Creator's light, the light of the universe, the light of God. Feel that connection. We also become aware of the strong flow of light coming to us always from Spirit. It flows down to us, throughout us, and all around us. Infusing us with a beautiful light, bringing peace, bringing joy, bringing calm, and whatever else we may need. Giving thanks to the light for this connection, we now see a beautiful multi-hued light around ourselves. We find it wrapping itself all around us. We know that this too is part of the Creator light, and it wraps itself around our entire bodies, all around our minds and fields. It may be any color. It wraps all around us. A protective cloak, keeping us safe from harm. Now we are grounded, we are connected, we are protected. And from this place, we journey to our own sacred space. Any place we wish to journey, any place that is our own special area of healing and meditation. We go there now within our own minds and see some outdoor setting. And within this outdoor setting, a path leading upwards. We take a moment more to really settle ourselves in our outdoor meditative space. We look around us. What sort of plants are nearby? How bright is the light? What is the ground like under our feet? We become aware too of any sounds we may hear. The rustling of leaves, perhaps, the rushing of water, the singing of birds. We feel the ground underneath us, the temperature of the air, and we become aware of any scents or tastes or other feelings that may be coming to us now. Once we feel very comfortably settled here in these sacred surroundings, we take note again of the path. That seems to be sloping upwards. And we begin walking on it, walking on this path. It may be a very clear path. It may be rocky. Perhaps it's paved, perhaps not. Perhaps sandy or stony, or a smooth path of grass. But we begin our walk slowly and surely, feeling as though we are going uphill. As we imagine traveling along this path upwards, we also become aware of just how steep this path is. It may be just a very gentle slope up. It may be very steep. Perhaps the path is winding, perhaps straight. Maybe we find ourselves having to climb over great boulders. But we take a moment now to become aware of how rough or steep this path is. After we have traveled a while along this path, moving upwards, we reach a place that has a beautiful view, some sort of vista where we can look out and down and behind us. Looking back on the path that we have already traveled. As we do this, we gaze back over the path we have already trod. Given some manner of insight about our past. And how this path correlates to some part of it. We take a moment then to gaze on our past path and receive any insights or messages from our soul about what this means for us and to us. Once we feel we have received this message, we begin following the path once more. This time farther up, putting our feet forward, one in front of the other. Until we come to some manner of clearing. In this clearing there are stones, very large stones. It may be a clear stone circle, a megalith like Stonehenge, or perhaps something much more modest, perhaps a single boulder or a collection. But there is something there that draws us nearer the stones. We find ourselves going up to a particular stone and really taking note of it, taking note of the colors in it, the size, the shape. We reach out and touch this stone, feeling its smoothness or its roughness, whatever texture it has. We stay here for a moment with this great stone, or perhaps stones. We find some sort of message coming to us. Perhaps a symbol. Perhaps an animal comes into the stone circle. Mammal or bird or insect. But we see something now coming into the stone area, and we know that it is a message for us. A message regarding our present life and how we may improve it. We take some time to receive that message now. Giving thanks to Spirit for this message, we feel the need to continue moving onwards down our path. As we continue journeying, the path seems a bit misty ahead of us, almost as though it is engulfed in some manner of fog. But still, we carefully find ourselves moving a little forwards. Taking some time to admire the mist through the fog, how thick or how light it is, whether it feels cold or warm, very heavy with rain or very light. And as we look forward towards where we believe the path goes, we find ourselves gazing into this mist. And in this mist, we may see symbols or figures or some sort of picture begin to take shape. We know that this is a message for us, for our future. It may only be a very small thing, but we take a moment to see it now. Giving thanks to Spirit for these messages, we find our path clear and see that it circles back to our sacred space. We take that path now back to the area where we began. As we find ourselves moving back to our own sacred space, we settle down. We feel ourselves finding calm and peace and contentment once more. From here, we give thanks once more for these messages from Spirit regarding our past, our present, and our future. And we decide to send some love and light to our whole planet, our whole globe, to bring healing to all the pasts, all the presents, and all the futures of the beings there. We envision the whole globe before us and stream beautiful light towards it. The light may be any color we choose to send, but we find ourselves picturing the globe in front of us and directing the light of heaven out through our palms towards this vision of the globe. We send out this healing in a slow, steady stream, being aware of the beautiful light of heaven as it travels all to the globe and all the beings on it. We take a few minutes more to send this healing all around our globe, seeing it fully enveloped, fully surrounded by the light. At this time, we give thanks to Spirit for its great aid, and we begin, if you choose, to slowly return to our own bodies, bringing our awareness back to our physical selves, taking deep breaths, stretching slightly, and returning back to our bodies and homes. Welcome back, and thank you.
I hope you have enjoyed the meditation. And in the meantime, I hope you found our website at ccwh.com. And there's a pull down menu where you can find all kinds of things there. And one thing would be to make a possible contribution to our organization. We'd be so very grateful. And there are possibility to put a prayer request in So our affirmations are found on their page as well. And don't forget to like us on our Facebook page. It would be of great help to us. And while you're there, perhaps you'd like to become a member. We would greatly love to have your energies being shared with us here.
For 44 years, Ccwh has been an amazing place for spiritual learning, growth, and value. We will continue to provide value that will enrich your spiritual journey. Donations big and small makes what we do possible. Please help us help you and others by making a donation today. Click here to visit ccwh.com. Thank you.